Hey everybody, this is Russell Wilks of musclevoodoo.com, musclevoodoo.co.uk, and online channels Muscle Voodoo like this one. Click the link below. Remember to click the link below in the description if you want to sign up to my very dynamic, absolutely rammed full of strength and power and muscular development sort of tips emailer, which comes out twice or thrice weekly. It's in the description below this video, in the description box. Click that if you want to sign up. Also, remember to subscribe to my channel if you want to, and also, thank you very much, like this video and be constructive and let me know if you want any more. Okay, so I would now like to talk about something that's asked me. A guy called Tom, he's 25, lives in Oxford, which is a city in the south of England, England being one of the countries in the United Kingdom, along with Scotland, Wales, the province of Northern Ireland, and a bunch of territories and dependencies like Channel Islands and Isle of Man. This channel is educational. Tom's 25, plays prop rugby union. He's 6 foot tall, 16 stone, that's about 220 pounds, or about 100 kilos. It doesn't tell me whether he plays loose head or tight head prop, but he's playing the 15-a-side game, which is rugby union. Anyway, Tom wants to gain a stone in weight by Christmas, which is, or by the end of the year, which is about 8 months away, because I made this in sort of the April. And he tells me the following. He says, and I think you can see it behind me, he says he's playing rugby he's training rugby 3 times a week for at least 2 hours at a time. And he's also doing weights, 3 sessions of weights for an hour and a half each time. And he asks me, number one, he says he's finding it very difficult to recover sometimes, and doesn't feel like he's totally recovered and is losing sort of energy and power. That's the first thing. Secondly, he asked me what kind of supplements he can take to help him to recover quicker, and is there anything else he can do to help him recover quicker. And the third thing is he asked me what specific lifts he can do for rugby. Okay, so Tom, I think I can help you, so thanks for your question very much. If you want to ask me a question, by the way, YouTube is a great place to do it. Other sort of social media as well, you can hunt me down. My name is Russell Wilks, RUSSELLWILKS. Right, okay, Tom, your first question is, why are you not recovering? The first thing is really, if you look at what you're actually doing is you're doing 4.5 hours of weights and 6 hours, at least 6 hours of rugby. So that's 10.5 hours of highly intensive resistance training per week. So I can tell you straight away, my first answer would be that you would probably need to cut your weight sessions down to an hour. That's the first thing. So try doing 3 times 1 hour and no more than 1 hour, and cut half an hour off each weight session, and you may find yourself recovering quicker. That's the first thing. I think secondly, the lifts that you can do for rugby, you haven't said so, but I get the feeling you're doing a bit more kind of bodybuilding, or what is like now modern sort of bodybuilding style training. So you're probably doing a few isolations and things like that. Now a couple of those are kind of okay now and then, although they do reinforce what's essentially called fixed motor patterns or fixed motor engrams, which, so you don't want to do them too often. So, but mainly you want to stick to compound lifts, and you want to do the stuff that can give you the biggest bang for your buck. On another video I did, which I've not punted up yet, I've done another video which is all about, this guy asked me how to gain basically a couple of stone of mass, etc. He's playing rugby too. I'll recap some of the principles on this one now. So some of the main lifts I would suggest that you do for a start off is, each session should revolve around something, a version of the squat or a version of the deadlift, alternating, and training like kind of 6-week blocks. If you're training 3 times a week, train 3 times a week for 6 weeks, then take a week off, or take at least 5 days off. But essentially, I'd always say that the Xerxes squat is brilliant for rugby because of the position you're in, because of the fact it replicates an Atlas stone lift, etc. So it's a whole body cross between your squat and the deadlift, if you like. Also, I would say the following, things like power cleans are really very good, and high pulls, great for expressing that power. Rugby also is obviously a sport that challenges you in terms of your strength, in terms of your speed, in terms of your speed endurance, in terms of your endurance in general. Power cleans and high pulls are definitely very good for rugby. Also the jump squats as well. I do another video about jump squats. Make sure when you do a jump squat that you use a higher bar position and keep it very, very tight on your back. And then when you're jumping, make sure that you're landing on the flat of your foot on your heels and rock and coming back down smoothly into a squat. Most people, when they get pain when they do jump squats, they'll they'll do jump squats on the balls of their feet, and they'll start jumping up and down, and they get a shearing pressure through their knee. To avoid that, to actually land sort of as you're landing, drop backwards, flatten the foot, heel, and then drop backwards into the jump squat. So jump squats, power cleans, high pulls with the hands at least a foot apart, and the elbows coming right up, and it's going to hit you around the nipple line. Then you've got obviously things like certain amounts of isometrics, like isometric rack, an isometric rack press as such, where you put the safeties in. You get a very heavy weight, you put it on your back as if you've done a good morning with it as such, or a squat as such, and then just basically run it along the safeties and basically slam the bar, you know, put some wrapping around it to stop damaging it, but you basically slam the bar into the rack and hold for 5 seconds. Now I know you're not actually trying to replicate the game in the gym, you want to build general athletic strength, but I would suggest to you that some things can be worked on in the gym for your rugby. So definitely high pulls, power cleans, some version of the deadlift, Xerxes squats, and cycle your squats, front squat, Xerxes squat, back squat, etc. Maybe try things like goblet squats and stuff like this, but mostly those three: Xerxes, Olympic front squat, and the back squat. Also try a power clean into a front squat, which is a fantastic one. So you do a power clean it up, front squat down as such, and also things like push presses are really good. Another things to factor into training is every few weeks do a heavy leg press. Leg press is fantastic for just developing and actually tapping the true strength and power in your legs. Obviously most people haven't got a strong enough back to do a really heavy back squat. So the weakest factor in your back squat is your spina erector muscles and your lumborum, so your lower back. Whereas with a leg press, you can just, it's the only lift that's readily available to most people where you can actually slap on a load of weight, a hell of a lot of weight, and press it safely, and it will allow you to express the true power and strength in your legs. So high pull, back squat, Xerxes squat, Olympic squat, power cleans, power clean to front squat, occasional leg press, and occasional sort of isometric rack sort of work as well. I said on another video, I talk about in much more depth about rugby and training for rugby. But anyway, those are the lifts I'd suggest there for a start off, Tom, and do far less isolation work. A little bit is kind of okay. You know, for calf raises, for example, are quite useful because of all that compression force going through the calf when you take an impact. So it can be quite useful, but mostly you don't want to be training with like a bodybuilding. You want to be keeping your reps right down. You want to be keeping your reps to sort of like sets of 3s and stuff like this, and training roughly, most of your work sets should be in the sort of 65 to 85% your 1 rep max. Do a couple of sets of warm up, and I would really do a standard sort of 5x5, not the strongest 5x5, the Reg Parks Grimmick 5x5, which I've done on another video, where it's basically 5 sets. You've got the 2 sets of warm up, the third one's intermediate, and 2 top sets are your work sets. Okay. Next one is supplements. Well, I think the first thing is to actually look at the problem. You're probably overtraining, you're not recovering enough. So the first thing, as I said, is to cut half an hour off your weight sessions. That's the first thing. Secondly, if you're still not recovering and you still think you need a bit of a scoosh, then sort of be like an athlete and sort of take stuff that's going to help you recover. So the first thing I'd say, a lot of people would say, oh, take creatine. Well, creatine's kind of okay, but you'll put on water weight with that, and you know it's not a bad thing, and it can help certain people. But far better for recovery are things like D-ribose and maybe beta-alanine as well. But D-ribose definitely. I trained when I was doing a bodybuilding split routine. It was like four days a week on average. I never got sore because somebody gave me a huge pot of D-ribose, and I was very cynical about it. I didn't think it would work. And I started taking it, and I didn't have 1 day of soreness, and I was training really hard, like, you know, quite heavy, intensive, high volume sort of training at the time. I never got sore, never got any lactic acid buildup, never any metabolites, anything like that. And D-ribose worked really well. So you can get hold of that. It's a little bit expensive, but get hold of that. What it does, it replaces the ATP that you've used, that you've expunged, that you've used up as glycogen stroke glucose and burned off. It replaces it at source, so it's really very good. Secondly, beta-alanine as well is kind of useful because it's an alkaline buffer, so bodybuilders love it, so you can train a little bit longer with it. However, make sure that you're not getting into the mentality, oh yeah, I can train for hours on this stuff. Just take it, and it'll help, again, sort of buffering against lactic acid and other waste products like metabolites, etc., in their build-up. So D-ribose and beta-alanine there. Obviously then also drinking plenty of alkaline pH 7+ water. Plenty of rest. Try and get more than 8 hours sleep a night. I know there are some people who say that sleeping more than 8 hours of sleep a night is a waste of time and a waste of life. However, you know, you've got to recover. You want your body to allow your body to recover, and you want to sleep very soundly. So yeah, more than 8 hours sleep a night. Anything, even a minute more. Walking on your off days, definitely walking over varied terrain for about half an hour or so at least. Plenty of stretching. In another video, I'll do a kind of 5-6 stretch count that I do every night to help me recover. And if somebody reminds me, I'll do that. But basically, you know, a couple of squat stretches, back stretch, stretches for the hips, etc. Anything like that at all will help a lot. So there's your how to recover, etc. There's the lifts. If I missed anything, I don't know. Hang on. Okay. Right, okay, yeah. I think that, you know, obviously, on another video, I've done things like the skinny guy or gal, how the skinny guy or gal can put on mass fast video that I've done, which is somewhere around on these channels. That'll help you a lot. I know you're not a particularly skinny guy, but that will help you discover, you know, what you need to consume to put on weight, particularly muscle mass. Again, take 20 times your body weight in pounds. And that's what you need today with your weight training and all your training to actually remain at the same weight and maybe put on a couple of ounces of muscle. And obviously that graduates up as you get heavier. So times 20 your body weight in pounds. If you weigh 150 pounds, you'll need 3,000 calories that day in order to lift weights and sort of grow a little bit. Obviously you're heavier, you're like 220 pounds at the moment, and you want to be about 235 pounds or thereabouts by the end of the year. So anyway, I think I've covered it all there, Tom, in the main. So just a slight recap: the really weightlifting wise, you want to cut your weightlifting sessions from 1.5 hours to each to 1 hour, and then maybe even attempt and then train it down to like 50 minutes. 3 times 50 minutes should be enough. Use a lot of compound movements. So like I said, overhead press, push press, Xerxes squat, Olympic squat, back squats, rotating them, different forms of deadlifts, particularly the sumo and the conventional stance, and maybe a slightly narrower stance one as well. The occasional leg press, maybe once every couple of weeks do a heavy leg press, and once every couple of weeks do some sort of isometric press against the rack as such. And also things like Carlson squat on a hack squat machine can be very useful for individual scrummaging. Think of it like an individual scrummaging machine. The other thing then, as I said, is recovery wise, D-ribose, beta-alanine, drinking plenty of alkaline pH 7+ water, sleeping a lot, walking, stretching, all the things that are boring and that are basically not magic, but you know, will help you a lot. Excessive calories as well. Consuming excess calories will help a lot with the recovery. Again, if you want to put on mass, 30% protein, 30% fat, good quality fat, saturated fat, omega-3, etc. You definitely need plenty of saturated fat in your diet if you want to build more muscle. And 40% carbs, particularly from like brown rice, oats, sweet potatoes, this kind of thing. Even jacket potatoes and stuff like that is pretty good. Stay off the wheat because it tends to aggravate your joints, and also it digests very, very quickly. It digests faster than sugar. So, and keep the sugar to a minimum, okay? And I think that's about it, right? So good luck to you, Tom, and anybody else who's watching, anybody else who wants to put on weight, anybody else who's playing for a specific sport, etc. Keep the questions coming. Let me know whether you like the videos. If you don't, then I'll cry. But if you do, it's great. Let me know, please. Like my videos, etc. Sign up to the mailing list if you want to get an email twice to thrice weekly. It's rammed full of hot, like cool tips about strength and power and mass and everything else. And thanks very much for your attention, and I'll see you on another video. Take care and good luck with your training. Ta-ra.